the way I am. Although there are people who do maintain that homosexuality is a lifestyle choice, given that most other things about a person are a combination of genetic factors and environmental factors, it seems much more likely that it isn't. And fair's fair, the science isn't all done yet, but do any of you remember choosing who to be attracted to? Scientists won't ever discover a gay gene because that idea ridiculously oversimplifies the genetics involved, but if homosexuality does have a genetic basis, then obviously you can't choose that. And if it's got a partial basis in your environment, then obviously you don't choose that either. Interestingly, some people think that the intrauterine, that is in the womb environment, has more to do with it than anything else that comes afterwards. And again, you don't choose the wallpaper in your womb. So, although there are people who think that being homosexual is a choice, I would put a lot of money on it that they're wrong. And I think a lot of scientists and psychologists would agree with me. Examples in the description. So remember, ought implies can. If you don't choose it, it can't be immoral. So there we are. Our practical ethical conclusion is that homophobia is irrational. But what do you guys think? Are there any arguments we've missed out? Don't be afraid to play devil's advocate in the comments if you think there's something wrong with the way we've argued something, though maybe point that out just in case you upset someone. Don't forget to favourite, share and tell your friends all about PhilosophyTube. You can also follow us on Twitter, and if you would hit that like button, that would make me really, really gay. Lots of people applied their minds to the puzzle of telepathy last time. Let's see what you guys had to say about logic and mind reading. JDog7 said that the apparent logical contradiction inherent in reading people's thoughts is a very dualistic outlook. It regards minds and brains as very, very separate things. If minds are brains, then just reading neuron activity would be mind reading. I hadn't even considered how dualistic that approach is. Thank you for pointing that out. It's not entirely without problems to say that minds are brains, and maybe that's another discussion for another time, but yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Royal Giraffe asked, couldn't mind reading come in the form of reading the subject of someone's thoughts rather than the actual content? So it would be like, Jeff is thinking about potatoes, rather than, what's that, Jeff? Potatoes? That seems a little bit to me like reading the body language, but really, really advanced like we discussed, rather than the full-on Professor X, I can hear your thoughts type deal. But as Michael Ruegrock pointed out, maybe it would be helpful to have defined mind reading exactly before we started. Dark Renegade and Asswaxer100 came back with really clever replies saying that just because somebody owns a thought, that isn't a predicate or property of that thought, so we can't use it to distinguish between different thoughts. That's a really good point. I didn't even consider that at all. I'm kind of torn. On the one hand, I agree, the fact that somebody possesses a thought isn't a property of it. But on the other hand, if you were to completely describe someone's thoughts, you'd be missing something if you didn't say that they were being had by somebody. But yeah, that's a really good point. I think that if Kant and Leibniz were alive, they would give you guys a big high five for that comment.